I'm Gary Meek. I was born in Grundy County in Edinburgh, Missouri, 1941, February 14th of 1941. And spent 4 years in Edinburgh, and then we moved to Trenton. And my second grade year, we moved to a little farm out between Tyndall and Spiggard. And spent most of my growing up life out there.
Okay, so you grew up basically on a farm.
Yes.
Okay, well, first of all, your mom and dad, what are your mom and dad's names?
My dad's name is Berlin Meek, and my mom's name is Kathleen. She was a Myers before she married my dad.
Okay. Well, growing up on the farm, did you have livestock or did you plant or what was your farm like?
Okay, we had it was a 90-acre farm, just a small farm. We had I think when Dad bought the farm, there was one cow, I think, and some chickens, and I think that was all that went with the farm. So that's what we started out with. But we bought some pigs and raised some pigs, and really got started in the dairy business.
Okay. Well, so I'm kind of assuming you probably were really active in terms of working the farm with your dad. Is that true?
Yes.
True. What exactly were some of the jobs that you had to do?
Well, we would get up at 2 o'clock or 2:30 in the morning, and get the cows milked before Dad had to leave on his bus route.
Oh, wow.
And went through the same thing that afternoon after he got home, and we helped build fence and helped. We did a little bit of row cropping, not much, just enough, mainly for feed for the cattle.
Okay.
When we first started out, we had 2 horses, work horses to pull the farm equipment.
Oh my gosh.
And then my granddad bought a little Farmall Cub tractor, and he lived west of Edinburgh, about 4 or 5 miles. And then when he would get done with it, why, we'd get the tractor and bring it up to our house and use it for a while.
So you were
We
sharing.
finally ended up buying our own tractor.
Wow. Yeah. Well, now, did you have brothers and sisters?
I had one brother. He passed away about 5 years ago.
Oh, okay. What was his name?
James.
James. So it was just you and your brother James then on the
Yes.
farm. So you guys both probably were working awfully hard.
Yes, we both
Yeah.
milked cows. Well, my mom even come down and she'd milk, and then when we got done milking and started cleaning up, she'd go up and fix breakfast for us.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, how many cows were you milking?
About 20. We were milking them all by hand.
All by hand. So how long did that take you?
Oh, it took about probably an hour and a half to do the milking, and then maybe another half hour or two, or another half hour to get cleaned up and everything afterwards.
Oh, wow. So what time were you eating breakfast then?
We were eating breakfast between 5:30 and 6. Dad would leave on the bus route at 6:30.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. And your dad, tell us a little bit about your dad's bus service because I know he plays a real key role. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he what got him started, and he was going to school at Brimson. Brimson only had a 3-year high school,
Okay.
and he wanted to complete his education and didn't have enough money to do it. And got thinking, well, there's other people that want to go Trenton too to finish their education. So his dad gave him I think it was a 1928 Chevy, if I remember right. And he had, let's see, I think it's 5 other students besides himself. Went to Trenton and charged them 50 cents a head, and I assume that was a week. I'm not sure on that.
Okay.
No, it was 50 cents a week. And that worked out pretty good for him, but he thought that'd be the only year he'd do it. And then he met my mom, and he's wanting to get married, but he knew he couldn't afford it. So he thought, well, that worked out all right. I'll just try it for a few more years. So he and his dad, Frank was my grandpa's Meek's name, went out in the timber and cut some logs down, took them into Brimson to a sawmill. They sawed it up into lumber. My great-grandfather Cross, which was my grandmother's father, helped with the lumber work. He was a carpenter. And my mom's father helped with the steel work. And they built a bus body on the back of a truck
Wow.
and put a kerosene heater in it, passed it down to the floor so it wouldn't tip over and catch everything on fire.
Wow.
And I think he used that for a couple of years and then bought a factory-built bus.
Okay. So that factory-built bus, do you have any idea about what year that would have been when?
Well, that would have been probably in the late 30s, I'd say 30, 38, 39, somewhere in
That's
there.
pretty amazing because that was, still Depression era.
Right.
Yeah. So, wow, that was a big investment
It
then.
was,
Yeah. So he started out then with just that one factory.
yes, just one bus. And then he started picking up some other contracts around the Edinburgh area.
Okay.
And I think they used a car for a couple of years along with the bus
Uh-huh.
for that. And he was also running a milk route and bought a truck. I think that was probably after we moved to town.
Okay.
I remember he bought a truck and it's all the milk, and then of an evening, why, if he could get a load of cattle, why, he'd take that to the stockyards in St. Joe or Kansas City.
Wow. Yeah. So, oh my gosh. So between the farm and all of that, he was an incredibly busy,
Yeah.
hardworking.
No, he didn't actually buy the farm until, he sold the milk route, I think, and bought the farm. I think he sold his truck. I don't remember having this truck out on the farm anyway.
Yeah. Well, so did you end up, where did you graduate from high school?
I graduated here in Trenton.
You graduated from Trenton High School.
Yeah.
Were you riding your dad's bus then to Trenton?
Yes,
Oh, wow.
we spent 7 years walking to school in grade school with all those buses sitting in the yard.
Oh, wow. Oh, okay.
But when I got in high school, I got to ride the bus.
Okay. What year did you graduate?
Graduated in 59.
59. And I noticed out at the senior center, your graduating class has really stuck together. You guys still meet.
Yeah, we still meet every Saturday or every Wednesday, first Wednesday of every month.
Yeah, that's and your graduating class. Go ahead and name some of the people that come out there to eat.
Well, Tom Stickler, Sandra Buzzard.
Okay, so and that's Sandy Constant, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. Trying to think who else is
Is it
still-
Mary Sue McCullough?
Yeah, Mary Sue comes out, and John.
Okay.
And John, let's see, I think John graduated with us. He's the same year as we was. I think he went to a military school for a while. And then
Oh, okay.
I think he came back to Trenton. I think he graduated with us.
Yeah.
And
Well, that's okay. You've got you've got a good group. It looks like, every month, what I see anyway, you've got 10 to 15 that meet regularly.
yeah.
I think that's pretty cool. Yeah. Well, after high school, what did you end up doing?
Okay, I went to the University I went first year here at Trenton Junior College.
Okay.
Junior College.
Where was the junior college when you went? Was it still out at?
No, it was upstairs in the high school.
Okay.
I think we had 28 students.
Oh, really? Wow.
And got my first year there, and then went down to Columbia and got a degree there, a bachelor's degree in or dairy production and farm management.
That's amazing. Yeah, yeah. Well, did you enjoy college?
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
After the second year, my first year down there, the first year I was kind of homesick.
I bet. Yeah, yeah,
But I enjoyed it after that.
yeah.
There were several Trenton people down there going too.
Did you live in dormitories down there?
No, I bought me a little camping trailer and got it set down on, I don't know, it was about 10 miles south of town, south of Columbia, in a trailer court there. And lived in that. Terry Dolan, which was graduated the same year I did, lived with me for a couple of months before he got married. And then the second year, a friend that I met up here that came from Jamesport spent the rest of the time with me in the trailer.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. So you were living in a little trailer during
Yeah.
college.
It was kind of crowded at times. I think it was a 13-foot long trailer.
Are you serious? Oh wow, wow.
And the first winter down there, we would have to break the ice on the kitchen sink if we left any water.
That was quite the adventure. Did you come home during summers while you were?
Yes.
You came home. Did you come home and help out on the farm then, or?
Yes. And well, my senior year in high school, I had Senator Jim Kelly had a farm out by Tyndall, and he had a farm manager running it there, and they needed somebody to help with milking, so I worked out there that my senior year, and then I worked out there during the summertime then on college.
Okay. Okay. Wow. I'm just, boy, it sounds like that whole process of growing up and then to college, you had to work really hard to make it happen.
And
I
yeah, we put in some pretty hard days. Times, but
yeah.
It was enjoyable.
Yeah. Well, now after college, what did you end up doing?
Well, come back home and I don't know, worked here for a couple months just doing farm work for a lady. Her husband was an FBI agent and he wasn't home too much.
Oh, wow.
So I did some plowing and things like that, and then got a call one day I had worked in a food science lab there at college.
Okay.
In the laboratory there. And we got into a project where we were doing mastitis testing
Huh.
to find out what antibiotics would cure whatever type of cow had.
Okay.
And I got a call, well, I don't know, about August of that summer, I think it was, and wanted to know if I'd be interested in the job. It was a farm co-op in Kansas City,
Uh-huh.
and they were trying to get into that project and wanted somebody that knew what they were doing.
Uh-huh.
So I took that job and worked there for about 5 years and got married, I guess, about the fifth year I was down there. And meanwhile, I also went to the service.
Okay. So, yeah. Well, so did you get drafted while you were at that job?
No, I joined the Army Reserves
Okay.
just a couple of days before I got my draft notice.
Okay.
And, but I was in the medical unit down there.
Okay. Well, okay. So what years were you a part of the Army Reserve then?
Let's see, I graduated in '63, so it was, I think it was January of '64 when I went in and took my basic training, and
Okay.
took my basic training at Fort Leonard Wood, and then I went down to Fort Sam Houston in San Antonio, Texas, and took my medical training down there.
So you were in the reserves just before Vietnam? Or
Yes.
in the maybe early days of Vietnam?
Yeah, early days of Vietnam.
Yeah.
We never did get called up for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
My brother did.
Your brother
He
did.
was in Vietnam, yes.
Okay. Was he Army in the?
Yes.
Uh-huh. Do you remember how long he was over there?
He was over there, I think, about 8 months.
Okay.
And he, it was pretty rough for him. That's what eventually caused him to pass away. He got in that Agent Orange and
Oh,
got cancer, developed cancer.
really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
He was, well, another story, he was out in the field. He was due to be released the next day. And helicopter came in bringing supplies that night. His sergeant told him he just well get on that helicopter and leave. And that night his entire unit was wiped out.
Oh, my gosh.
So,
Yeah.
and that was kind of hard on him always.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I can't imagine. Yeah.
yeah,
Well, he came back to Trenton then.
yeah, no. He was well, he was teaching vocational agriculture
Okay.
in Herman, Missouri, and that's where he met his wife. And then when he got back out of the Army, he got a job in, I can't think of the name of the school, it was in the rural St. Louis area.
Okay.
And then he went up to Dubuque, Iowa, and started working for Iowa Extension.
Mm-hmm.
And then he got a chance to go to Ames and work for the university there in Extension. So
Okay.
that's where he worked, spent the rest of his life.
Okay. I wasn't sure if he would have come back to the area, but he got married and kind of carved out his own.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so did you marry local?
No, she was, well, she was living in Columbia when
Oh, okay.
I met her.
You met her. Okay, so you met her when you were in college.
Yeah, actually, one of my friends, well, the friend that was living with him in the trailer,
Uh-huh.
he stayed in Columbia and he married a Columbia girl. And she was working in the telephone office. My wife was working there too. And
Uh-huh.
so he got us together and went out with her one time. And then a couple of years later, that was before I went to the Army, I think. And a couple of years later, why, he said, well, you want to have another date with her? And I said, oh, I guess. That was one date too many, I guess.
Oh, yeah. That's funny. Oh, boy. Well, when did you end up coming back to Trenton?
Let's see, it was about 1972. Ended up, started working for Seal Test Foods then. Worked there about 5 years in Kansas City. And they transferred me to Omaha then to an ice cream plant.
Wow.
And worked there for about 5 years. And then that plant closed down. And there was a little dairy up north of Fremont, Nebraska, about probably 60 miles from St. Louis, or from Omaha.
Okay.
And he had his own dairy, provided his own milk, and then bottled it and sold it on the area. And I worked there for about a year. And got the idea I wanted to buy a motel. So we looked all around, finally found one in Gallatin.
Uh-huh.
It was for sale, and so we made them an offer. And Mom and Dad was working filling station at that time, across on 17th Street,
Okay.
Texaco station.
I remember that.
And there was a laundromat right across the street from it, and they said, that's up for sale, so that might be a good fill-in for you if you get that motel. So we bought the laundromat, and then the motel deal fell through. So we ended up in the laundry business.
Well, wow, this is amazing. You've done a lot of different things, and I think in my mind, I associated you primarily with the filling station and with driving the bus. Yeah, you've had a couple of different lives at least,
Yeah.
maybe 3 or 4 different lives.
Yeah.
So,
When we got the laundromat, of course, Dad was still operating school buses at that time, and he wanted to know if I'd thought I needed another job, and I said, well, everything helps. So I drove for him 1 year, and he was ready to retire. He asked if I wanted to take over the buses, and I said, nah, I think I'm through with bus driving, but I ended up driving another 22 years.
Are you serious?
For
Wow.
school buses, another 22 years.
How old were you when you retired from driving buses?
Well, actually, I drove for 22 years, and then I started driving for a charter bus company.
Okay.
St. Joe, and I worked for them 10 years, so I was about 64 when I retired from driving buses.
Okay. Wow, you've had very different careers. Kind of working in these science labs, and I mean, yeah, you've had a very interesting path, through
Yeah.
life. Yeah. Well, so you said you came back to Trenton in what year was it?
We've been 1972.
72. Okay. And you had the laundry at that time?
Yes, we bought the laundry at that time.
Okay. And what about the gas station across the street? Now, were you also working at that gas station?
I'd help out once in a while when things were slow at the laundry. I'd go over there and help out. And there was a couple times that, well, both Uncle and Dad both had to leave for, I don't know, a meeting or something. And I worked that day, I guess. But, well, they had 2 boys, and they were over there helping too at that time. So.
Okay. Well, what has been your favorite job?
Favorite job is driving the motor coach.
Really?
Love that job.
Okay. So you were just taking groups to different locations for
Right.
events?
Well, we had, that was the part I really like. We do shuttle work once in a while, for conventions in Kansas City. And we also, 1 year, we transported prisoners from Kansas City, or from St. Joe to Kansas City to work on a road crew.
Okay.
That was a job I hated.
Yeah.
But,
How was it, because you drove a bus for the school district for so long, did you enjoy that, or do you have any specific memories from that? I kind of imagine that being a nightmare, being a bus driver for kids, but
I started out on country routes
okay.
and had very little trouble there. I remember one time I smelled a cigarette in the back and caught one of the boys smoking, or I knew where it was and then coming from. And I told him he's going to have to sit up in the front seat. And he said, I'm not sitting in the front seat. I said, if you're riding the bus, you're sitting in the front seat. He says, okay. And he just got off the bus. He was still at home.
Oh, wow.
Or that was the next morning, I think. I forget just all the details, but I think it was the next morning when I put him up in the front seat. Anyway, about 2 hours later, here come him and his dad into the laundry. I thought, oh, I'm in trouble now.
Oh, no.
We talked for a while, and finally he got up and said, well, if you're going to ride the bus, you're going to ride in the front seat from now on, or till he lets you go. So, that turned out pretty good.
Well, good. Yeah, I don't think bus drivers get enough credit. That has to be one of the toughest.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to do it now.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to be sure and ask you, because you had told me a little bit about your family history and your connection to the Thompsons. Yeah. Do you want to share a little bit about, you said, was it an aunt that married the Thompson?
Yes, it was it would have been, I think it would have been an aunt that was married to the Thompsons. And Maria was her first name, I think. And they came from Virginia up to, I don't know, I don't know just how they came, covered wagon, I suppose.
Yeah. So was she, so that you're talking about too, she would have been the first, like, she and General Thompson, is that correct?
Yes, he
Yeah.
was a general.
Okay, so she would have been living in that house.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, they built they built them a little log cabin, I think, the first year, but then the second year they started the big house there.
Wow. So your roots, then you've got one line anyway that kind of goes back and is a part of that history.
Yes.
That's pretty amazing. Well, so retirement. What have you done since retirement, or what are the things that you've enjoyed doing?
Well, actually, I completely retired when I was 82 years old.
So you haven't been retired very
About
long.
3 years.
Oh my gosh.
But after I got done with the motor coach driving, I drove for the junior college for
Okay.
probably 3 or 4 years,
Uh-huh.
and also had a job with a medical transport company. Medicare, they transport Medicaid patients to various hospitals and things
Wow.
in Missouri. I did that for a couple of years till they went out of business, and then had a friend that was working for mental health. He was a transportation supervisor for mental health, and I don't know, we got met at the gas station there one day over at Casey's one day, and we were both filling up vehicles, and he asked what I was doing, and I told him, I said, it's not, don't have very much work to do though. And he said, well, would you like some more?
Oh, geez.
So I got a job there, and then it kind of picked up, the medical transport kind of picked up, and I was just about ready to quit, and then I got a call and said they was closing down.
Oh, okay.
And so I worked 4 days a week over at Laredo then at the PSR program.
Yeah.
What was it, psychosocial recovery or something?
Okay. Okay. Well, I'm curious because you've worked so much. How have you adjusted to retirement? Like, what have you been doing during retirement?
I've been doing a little bit of woodworking,
Oh, yeah.
and I like to fool around on the computer, and I don't know, I like designing spreadsheets.
I'll tell you, that's amazing. I mean, that's impressive because the fact that you have been willing to experiment with technology, and because, I mean, there aren't a lot of people probably in your age group that get on the computer and do things,
Yeah.
and I can understand why, because it would be very, you've lived most of your life without it, but that's very neat that,
I
yeah.
bought my first computer, it was probably about 82 or 83.
Wow, so you got on it. Yeah.
I had an idea. I had to do some bookwork for laundries and things.
Uh-huh.
And that didn't work out, but I did get a job doing payroll for Sunnyview Nursing Home. I did that for a while, and I wrote some computer programs I wrote one for the bus company. It was town students had to live a mile away from school before they was eligible to ride the bus.
Okay, and I actually remember that. That kind of being the rule.
So
Yeah.
I wrote a program, type in their address and everything, and they'd figure out who was eligible and who wasn't.
Wow. So you got involved with technology and programs pretty early days then. Yeah.
Yeah, my computer, had 128K of memory on it.
Oh, yeah.
It used a little floppy disk.
Yes, I remember those. Yeah. Yeah, that's.
But it was a $6,000 computer. Well, the computer and the printer and everything together, I think it was about $6,000.
Wow. Wow. Well, yeah, I can't believe all the different things you've done during the course of your life. Just a lot of different jobs and interests. Are there any interests that you hope to explore in the coming years?
Oh, I really like traveling now, but I don't know how many more years I'm going to be able to travel.
Yeah. Where's someplace you would like to go?
Oh, I've been about every place in the United States, and I really have no desire to do any foreign traveling.
Yeah, yeah.
But Branson is probably my favorite place to go.
That's great. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, back when I first started traveling down to Branson, there's all kinds of shows and things, and you get to know some of the performers pretty well.
Uh-huh.
The husbands, their dad always come out and greet us and
Yeah.
pull in with the bus.
That's great. Well, I wanted to be sure and ask, what are some of your favorite memories of Trenton growing up?
Oh,
Or of Brimson, or any of the places that you did
Yeah.
that you've lived.
I don't know. No, I guess probably my favorite was just coming to town on Saturday, and you get to see a lot of people that you knew, but you didn't get to talk to very often. And things,
Uh-huh.
and going to the Roy Rogers movies.
Oh yeah, yeah. What did you? And thinking about the downtown area, were there other places that you tended to go pretty frequently in the downtown?
Well, there was a Illinois, what was it? Illinois salvage store, I think. I
Uh-huh.
always like to go in there because you never knew what you was going to find.
Oh yeah, yeah. So it sounds like it might have been a precursor or something that was similar to Bones Lineberger.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That's interesting. Huh? You had mentioned you got an allowance of 25 cents. Is that right?
Right.
So 25 cents covered your Saturday pretty
Yeah,
well.
pretty well covered the Saturday. Now we make a little extra money by cutting thistles and things. I think we got a penny apiece for each thistle we cut down.
Oh wow.
And my brother always liked to buy Disney comics, Donald Duck, Mickey Mouse, and things, and I'd always buy Roy Rogers comic books.
Oh yeah.
And of course, Mom and Dad grew up in the Depression, and they never threw anything away.
Oh.
And
Mhm.
after Mom passed away, why, Dad had a sale, and all those comic books were there. And my brother said they had a comic book dealer in Ames where he was living. Well, he asked him about not worth anything. Says if you want to bring them up, I'll give you a little bit for them, but they're not worth anything. Well, he decided just to sell them at the sale. And some of those comic books were selling for $25, $50 a piece.
Oh really? Wow. Yeah. That's the first thing I thought that you probably had collector's items there.
My
Yeah.
brother said, Dad, if you'd have given us a little more money while we were growing up, we could have bought more comics, you'd have been a millionaire.
That's right. Yeah. That's funny. Well, is there anything else that I'm not thinking about that you might like to share about whether it's your parents, your wife, what you've done,
Oh, I don't know. As I said, driving motor coach was my favorite job.
Uh-huh.
We spent a month down to the Olympics in Salt Lake City
Oh, wow.
time, and that was interesting. We had 18 buses, I think, down there of ours, and of course buses from all over the country was down there,
Wow.
and it was really interesting.
Yeah. Having that job, is that how you did a lot of your travel, is because of your driving?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, afterwards, well, I was driving in New York City one night, got a phone call, and my wife said, we got a problem. And I said, what's that? I said, well, the police just come by and dropped off the grandkids and wanted to know if we could take them. So we had our grandkids from, I think Katie, our granddaughter, was 2, and Jimmy, our grandson, was 1. And so we raised them.
Oh, wow.
Jimmy's still home with us. He's working in Chillicothe, but still
Okay.
home with us.
Wow. So how many kids did you have?
We had two.
Had two,
Yeah,
and then
son
you,
and a daughter.
okay, and then you've raised your grandkids too.
Yes. Mhm.
Wow. Wow. Well, what, and maybe it'll tie in with this also, but one thing I wanted to ask maybe here at the end is I'm trying to ask everybody a similar question, and along the way, what's something that you've learned that you feel like is maybe a good piece of wisdom to share?
Well,
There's probably a lot of things you've learned along the way, but is there anything that stands out?
just learn to be honest, work hard,
Yeah.
and if any problems you have is going to work out all right if you stay with it.
I love that. Yeah, I think that's what a lot of people need to hear too, is, that if you do have problems, they do, they work out. You just have to, yeah. Well, I'll tell you, this has been a lot of fun to talk to you, and I'm amazed at how much you've done. This was great getting to hear about at least some of what's, gone on in your life. So, okay. Well, thank you very, very much.
Welcome.
All right.